What's the most likely landing spot for one AB?
Well, it's going to be the NFC, right? I mean, ideally.
Yeah.
It's going to be a team that has the cap space to do it. It's going to be a team that has a great quarterback and needs or could use a real threat like Antonio Brown. To me, that's Seattle. I wish the Cowboys were that, hadn't made that deal, because could you imagine the circus comes to Dallas? Like, that would be amazing. But realistically, when I take a sober look, I think it works in Seattle.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Oh, snap.
I ran into my boy in L.A.
Oh.
And I just got to tell you something right now. I ain't thinking about the cap because I don't have those numbers in front of me, Max. Here's my point. I'm just thinking strictly on talent. I don't want to lose Antonio Brown, but since I'm going to lose him, and the likelihood is that he ain't going to the Patriots, he ain't going to anybody in the AFC, and it's going to be the NFC. I'm going to roll with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Steelers should get my man DeSean Jackson in return, okay? Now, DeSean Jackson, all right? Now, DeSean Jackson, all right, okay, ain't getting any younger. I understand that. He still will fly past most receivers. Tampa Bay, you got the #1 rushing attack. You got Bruce Arians that's now the coach there. He's familiar with
Mike
Antonio
Evans
Brown.
on
you
the
got
other
Mike
side.
Evans on the other side, okay? You got O.J. Howard as your tight end. I got all of that. But you know what? If I'm going to lose Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster is that #1 receiver that you swear he is, and I agree with you because he is the #1 receiver, even though I don't think he's going to be nearly as effective without Antonio Brown as he was with him. The fact of the matter is, do I need somebody that's going to spread the field, somebody that's going to go deep at the drop of a dime, somebody that can outrun most defenders? Yeah. And DeSean Jackson, I like that. I like DeSean Jackson in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform. What do you think about that, Ryan?
This is why you're wrong. Did you not hear Bruce Arians talk about the diva-like behavior from Antonio Brown? This was just weeks before he took the Tampa Bay job. He was saying this wasn't the guy that was drafted. He has changed. He started to behave in a certain manner. You know, Bruce has gotten to that point where you don't want to deal with the foolishness. But, you know, Max, there's a team in Wisconsin that has 2 first-round picks. They have some capital that they can give up to get Antonio Brown. And they have a quarterback who we would just love to see with Davante Adams on one side, Antonio Brown on the other side. And at that point, it wouldn't even matter who the running back is because you would never need him. This is a deal that Green Bay needs to make happen.
But we're shoving Aaron Rodgers again. Aaron Rodgers, that's automatic. That's automatic. Anybody but him.
We didn't say the best
play
spot.
by the first take rules of Aaron Rodgers is out of it.
Get him out.
But this is we're talking about we're talking about likely spots.
Yeah, no,
right? We're not saying the best spot.
That Aaron Rodgers was off the table.
You worried for him. You ignored it.
No, that is not true.
Well, if you look at the other side of it.
When you bring up AB as opposed to Le'Veon, right, with the Packers, to me it seems like the thing that Aaron Rodgers has never really had is that all-around, all-pro back. The back that can do anything. We've seen him with excellent receivers. Even in the core now, Randall Cobb and Davante Adams, he's got receivers. What we haven't seen is him with that impossible all-around, all-pro back. I'd rather it's interesting to me that you don't say Le'Veon Bell with the Packers, but you do say AB.
Well, I think that team revolves around Aaron Rodgers, and if you watch the games last year where they stuck to the run with Jones and where they decided that the run game was going to be a part of the game plan, they were able to run it effectively. I think it was either Stephen A. or Max talked about how good their tackles were and they are extremely good tackles. They protect the quarterback, they can run block, and so I believe you can get a running game going there as long as you stick with it consistently. But to have Antonio Brown on the outside, to have Davante Adams on the other side, and you speak about Cobb and Davante Adams, and you go back in the day, you can go back to Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson. Those guys were very good receivers, but we're talking about an all-time great receiver. We're talking about a receiver that's put up numbers in the last 6 years that we've never seen before. And I think you can get Antonio Brown there and get him with a guy who he respects as a quarterback. He respects his talent. He will understand that he can't be bigger than Aaron Rodgers, and in understanding that, but knowing that he'll get his numbers and his opportunity to win a Super Bowl with the most talented quarterback I've ever seen, I believe that's a spot where not only Antonio Brown's talent can flourish, but his personality can be kept under wraps.
Man, I love me some Doug Baldwin, but add Antonio Brown to that mix, and
That would be
now
different.
That running
But,
game.
but you
All
watch
these teams getting their
when you
missing
watch
pieces.
Russell
Can a
Wilson,
girl
he
get a
spreads the
quarterback?
ball. He spreads the ball around so
Antonio
much.
might
This
not be
team's
happy.
going back to the run. That might not be a place where you can keep Antonio Brown's personality from affecting what's already been called a brotherhood in Seattle.
You know what I can't wait to see? What the Steelers do next year without either of these guys.
Oh, that's going to be on Big Ben
Right?
Roethlisberger.
Are they going to
really
make
seem-
the
Next year.
playoffs?
I'm not
We'll
necessarily excited about watching it.
Are you ready for this, Ryan? More pressure on Big Ben Roethlisberger next year than at any time in his career.
100%. Absolutely. It's going to
Without
be
question.
It's going to be time for, I think the other person that's a lot of pressure on, I think, is Mike Tomlin.
Yes, both
Yeah.
of them.